What's up? What's up, YouTube, Facebook? Welcome to the weekly live. I hope y'all doing good. We'll just wait a few minutes to get more people in here. While we're waiting, everybody in the comments, let me know where you guys are from. I like to see where everybody's from. Checking in from Atlanta. Atlanta's always in the house. New York City, Asheville. All right, Asheville. Delray Beach. Antoine, you down in Delray Beach right now, man? Virginia, DC, Phoenix, Charleston, Delaware, Detroit. He said, I'm going to be in Mexico in about 2 weeks, man. I haven't been able to if I'm not on vacation, I'm working. So I've been working since Corona started. Seattle, Kansas, Brooklyn's in the house. Los Angeles, Navy stationed out there in Jacksonville. Be careful. I heard COVID's out there running crazy. Jefe is out there. Jeff Jefe is Dominican Republic right now. Vancouver, Cleveland, Houston, Brooklyn. A lot of New York. Philly's in the house. Mississippi, Georgia, Vegas, West Palm. We live 2021. Oh man, who knows if that happens? We're hoping for it. We're shooting for it. Mississippi, Houston. That's what's up. Portsmouth, Virginia, right up the street, kind of. Alabama. Who's got the happy mouse today? All right, cool. So welcome everybody from all over the country, some places in the world. Port St. Lucie. I love that place. This is our weekly live. So every other week I do one by myself. And then every other week I do one with my buddies, Nazar and Chris, which those are pretty fun. When I go live with Nazar and Chris, we call it After Dark. Essentially, it's just us having a conversation like we would on a regular phone call, and you guys get to be a fly on the wall. So it's a pretty cool conversation. If you haven't checked those out, make sure you go back and check some of the old YouTube videos. But today, what are we going to talk about today? What do we want to talk about? Matter of fact, let's pick up on a topic from last week's show. Let's pick up a topic from last week's show with Chris and Nas. When we were talking about how wholesaling can be everything or just a beginning part to you, if that makes sense. If you limit your mindset, wholesaling will be what you turn out to be. But you obviously want to be able to grow into something bigger. Wholesaling should be your foundation, and you should be picking up rentals, and creating a passive income with the active income you're making from wholesaling. And if you have desire, get into, building developments, creating as much passive income as possible. That's my goal. And I think everybody should have a stepping stone where wholesaling may be the entryway for you into real estate, and it keeps growing, and you meet whatever goals you want to meet in life through the financial freedom that wholesaling can bring. I get this question a lot. Somebody asks, is wholesaling saturated? If you have the mindset, then yes. If you have that mindset that any industry that you want to get into is saturated, then yes. The truth is, you only need to get a piece of the pie that you need to get. You don't need the entire pie. So with that being said, if you have that abundance mindset, then you're not going to have a problem succeeding. And I don't care where you are in this wholesaling business, whether you're doing it in your backyard or virtually, whatever. You just, if you have that mindset. So what I would think is that my answer to that is no, wholesaling is not saturated. So you should change the way you think about it, and anything else in life that will deter you from, achieving your dreams. A happy mouse. Relax. Oh my God, Matt's back there with the mouse scrolling through your questions. Um, Somebody take the mouse away from Matt, please. He said his goal is to own some Popeyes. I feel you, man. Franchising. Yeah, somebody said, Katrina Campbell said wholesaling is the gateway drug to real estate. It really is. It really could be. Um, Give me a question to read. Give me some time to read the question so I can tell you which one to bring up. Mr. Tillman says, does the phone number you provide to text actually respond? I tried a few times but didn't get a response. Yeah, it does. Where's my phone? I'll be honest with y'all. I hate getting on the phone. But yeah, it works. Let me see. What was that, Tillman? Let me see if I can find you in my phone book. Is it Antoine Tillman? Or Twan? Yeah, I got your text messages for sure. Inbound call software. You just need a phone. I use in our office, we use Dialpad. We like Dialpad as an inbound phone. Or you can just use, tracking numbers from CallRail or REI Rail. Hey, what's up, Roxanne? How do you close deals consistently as a one-man show? That's a good question, Paul. You have to be consistent with your marketing. People that you're talking to now, um, people that you're talking to today do not turn into a deal typically for maybe a month or two, sometimes 3 or even longer. So you have to consistently keep your pipeline full. So whatever marketing you're doing now is for later. What you did 2 or 3 months ago is for today. You should definitely keep that in mind. So you have to the way to get consistent deals is to consistently market, consistently talk to people, fill up your pipeline. And every now and then you're going to get what I call unicorns, people that you talk to on the first try and you get something signed within a day or two or within the week for sure. Somebody asked, am I still a PBR agent? Yes, I still rep athletes in professional bull riding. Ezekiel Mitchell, Andrew Alvarez, Tyler Warner, a couple other. Yeah, we still rep. Dave and I have an agency that we do quite a bit of other things, and that's one of them. It says, Max, what would be your dream location of starting if not in North Carolina? Anywhere that I knew the market. That's it. Anywhere that I was if you put me anywhere on God's green earth, I'm going to figure it out. So, I don't have a preference. I don't think that anywhere is like, oh man, I would go here to go there. It would be anywhere for me. Do you know anyone that offers mentoring for wholesaling in the Durham market? I don't. But if you do reach out to Chris Jefferson, he can mentor you from virtually. He doesn't have to be in your market as well. Let's talk to Terry. Terry Barr says, hey, Max, I just received my 7th deal this year and I wanted to hold it. Would you suggest getting a bank loan, private lender, or using my own cash for my first project? Terry, that's a good question. If you have the ability to go to the bank and get a commercial loan on a rental property, I would do so. I would leverage some of the cash you have now to get a loan at a real good interest rate, so that you can still have money. Hopefully you've been developing a relationship with your banker or your bank as you've been wholesaling. But yeah, me personally, I would try to go get a loan from the bank, leveraging only some of your cash. So that's my answer. But congratulations on your 7th deal this year. That means you're roughly getting one a month, which is way more than a lot of people need to get. If your average deal is, let's just say 10 grand, it's a lucky number, magic number we all throw out around here. $10,000, then you're up $70,000. And if you still have a day job, you're at day job plus 70,000. And if you quit your day jobs, you got 70,000. So congrats, Terry, to your success. So somebody had a comment says, what official documents are needed or are a part of wholesaling? Well, you're going to have your purchase contract and you're going to have your assignment contract. That's mainly two things. You're going to purchase, you're going to put the property under contract with somebody that's selling a home. So you're going to agree to purchase it, and then you're going to assign your rights to that contract with somebody else in an assignment contract. He says, should I use my personal cell phone number while when starting out, even on bandit signs? Absolutely not. Definitely not. You should not do that. So what I would recommend you doing is getting a number like from CallRail. You can spend $30 a month and get up to like 10 or 15 numbers that you can put on separate marketing pieces. Or you can go out and spend, I think, 30 or 20 or $30 a month on a dial pad number. But typically I would want to use CallRail so you can track the different marketing pieces. Let's see here. Trying to read through some of these questions. Somebody says, am I coming up with a plan for We Live 2021? My answer is yes. We're trying. Obviously, it's not at the top of our mind right now because of COVID, but we are in the background planning it. If we do have an actual live event with people there, it will be here locally in Winston-Salem. And we'll do it from there. Somebody says, what happened to the do not call list on REI Skip? It's still there. Once you skip somebody, if you go in your Excel sheet or your CSV file, you're going to go towards the end. It's going to have a column that says DNC, and it's going to say yes or no. We've always provided it. We will always provide it, and we will continue to provide it. So just look on your sheet that you get. Have you ever owner financed a house and it did not work out? No, Ahmad, that's not happened to me. We're pretty tight with our paperwork. We have good closing attorneys to make sure we're airtight with our paperwork. So legally, nothing can go wrong. And did no work to it. Oh, sorry. I read that wrong. Sorry, Ahmad. Yes, absolutely. Have I done? Yes, absolutely. Several times. I've bought a house cash, sold it for double, did no work to it, and owner financed it with a decent down payment on it. Yes. Let's say, go back to that. Somebody said they had 3 deals under contract. It says, hey, Max, I have 3 houses under contract in the same area. I've dropped the prices to get even $1,000 fee. How can I attract more buyers? Brandon, here's typically what happens. If something has a hard time selling, that means the product is either real bad or the prices are too high. And even if the product is real bad and the price is right, then you could still sell something. So typically when somebody says, hey, I got a house under contract, it's not selling, typically it means that you got it under contract too high. And even though you're willing to only take $1,000 fee, that may mean that you've got the property under contract too high to begin with. And even with only $1,000 fee, it still may be too high. So what I would do, and if that's not the case, then you need to partner up with somebody else in your market that is currently doing deals and does have a good buyers list and has a good working relationship with a lot of buyers. Then, you need to share that deal with somebody else. But typically when somebody says, hey, I got a deal and I can't sell it, even though I'm trying to lower my fee, it typically means that the house is just overpriced. Have I ever wholesaled mobile homes? I have. So yes, it was attached to the land, if that makes sense. So I sold it as real estate. But I've never just took a mobile home with a VIN number and sold it separate from a piece of land. But I've done the whole package before. But there's some good folks. I forget what city they're out of. They're a couple. They teach you how to flip mobile homes. Real lucrative, great ROI. I forget their name. I'll try to put it in the replay notes of this video here. Somebody says, what did those 3 weeks look like before you got your first deal? I was completely obsessed with learning wholesaling. Every waking minute that I had, I was either listening to a podcast from at that time was Sean Terry or Wholesaling Inc. and just listening to these guys on what things they should do. Or I was, wasn't many people on YouTube at that point in time, so it wasn't many videos, but I was just obsessed, and I latched on to going out there and driving for dollars, which is how I got started. And I drove in an old neighborhood that I used to live in, that I grew up in. And I found a house kind of identical to what they were saying on every podcast that I should go out and find. And I found it and got a hold of the owner and made it happen. Hey, Max, do you do mentoring, like paid membership? I don't. And the reason why I don't do it is just because I don't have the time, and I would hate to go out and try to offer a product that I don't have time to service. I think it'd be a disservice to you guys. So no, currently I don't, and I don't really see it in the foreseeable future. But if things do change, I'll make sure everybody knows. Here's my question. I'm getting a house under contract for $600,000, but the seller is asking for $30,000 earnest money. What should I do? I've never heard of $30,000 earnest money, even on $1 million homes. So that's very, very unusual. That makes zero sense. Yeah, that person is not. That's not common at all, totally at all. So that person is crazy. You should talk to them and tell them that's not how real estate works. Nobody's gonna put a $30,000 earnest money on a $600,000 house. I don't even think your down payment would probably be that much. Maybe so, but still. What should I look for with litigators? What is the reason I'd get sued for buying homes? Litigators are people that don't want to be called, and they create phone numbers for you to call them, and they'll sue you. So don't call litigators ever. They're known people that sue. So yeah, definitely don't. Let's see here. Um, Question from Eric, military question. Being in the military, I'm liable to move a lot. Is it feasible to rent property I used to live in if I move to another location where there's factors such as rehabbing and meeting tenants? So I'm guessing you're saying you're just moving around and you have a house that you want to rent out. At that point, you just want to get a property manager to deal with the problems. If I'm understanding that, um, let me read that again. Yeah. So typically, if you're going to rent a house and you're going to be on the move a lot and you don't have the time to do it, you just need to hire somebody for between 8 and 10%. I think is the going rate for that. Let's see here. Scroll up the other way. The other way. Tyler, if you had a question, just ask it. I don't think I've seen it. And look, guys, you don't have to send me money to get a question answered. I'll just, if I see it, I'll answer it. Um, let's see here. It says, hey, Max, have you wholesaled duplexes? Is that there? Let's see where that's at. Hey, Max, have you wholesaled duplexes? Are the same process as single family homes? Yes, I have, and they're 100% the same. What's your take on pay-per-click Google marketing versus any type of Facebook ads? They both work fine. They're essentially both PPC. You pay per click. You're just gonna reach. You just gotta. Yeah, I hire somebody to do mine. I hire somebody that does my stuff. So, hey Max, how did you acquire an abundance mindset? Um, I think that really comes down for who you're hanging around, the people you're hanging around, and reading a lot of books of people that are successful. And you'll see that one common trait that a lot of them have is they work hard and they have an abundance mindset. I would say it just becomes who you're hanging around. You need to hang around people that have that mindset. If you hang around people that drink and party all day, you're more likely to do the same. So try to find people that have that mindset and do whatever it takes to be around these successful people that you see successful. And man, you know what? Just go at it. It's difficult. I won't say it's just easy. Read a book, you automatically wake up with the abundance mindset. You need to train yourself to know what that looks like and keep it, make it look normal. So that's what I would say. What do you do when a lot of sellers want market value? Do you always have to do the 0.70? No, you don't. You obviously can't give market value because you are um, a an investor. You can't pay retail. But depending on how hot your market is, and real estate is regional, um, it's even market by market. So like 0.70 may not work in your market. It may be too high in your market, maybe too low in your market. So you have to learn from what your market is tolerable with. And that's simple. Just simple research would tell you that. Um, 700 media, I'm not sure. I know I know my guy is very solid, but yeah, I can't tell you. I haven't seen it. So I would just call him up and talk to him. Thank you for the value, Max. Absolutely no problem. I'm talking to a seller now who owns a church. I'm thinking about locking it up at 80 under the PA value. Do you think I'll move it? Any experience with churches? No, I've never had an experience with churches. All I'm saying is that that buyer pool is going to be very, very small. And if that buyer pool is very, very small, you're going to have a lot less people wanting to buy churches than just something you want to live in. So you may want to keep that in mind. Am I saying you can't? But, no. There's your mentor doesn't have to be in your local market, guys. Remember that. Somebody says, "Hey Max, please share some of your best practices in building your team. What are the top 3 traits you look for?" For me, that you need somebody that is a self motivator. One, um, somebody that is trainable, and somebody that works hard. And I think you can put those together and come with a perfect person. But I think the hardest part of scaling any business is finding the right people. So good luck with that. Every entrepreneur that I know goes through that, and it's difficult. It is a difficult part. Some people do better than others, but it's hard to actually go out and find people that will stick with you and work hard and come every day. It's it's just hard, period. But it can be done. Somebody was asking me a question about Canada. What's good? My question to you is, how should I hold wholesale it Canada? Can you help me? I'm not sure about Canadian rules. One thing I do know about Canada is that they don't have that much of public records like we have here in America. So I think it's a little bit harder to find individuals and information you need. But if you can do that, and the concept is the same, and you guys can assign rights on contracts, then you should be able to go that. Um, so just learned of you 2 days ago, binge watched on your videos, and now you're live. I appreciate the knowledge. Man, thank you so much. And that's kind of how I got started. Is I learned about it. I became very obsessed. I went out and I just started absorbing every single thing I could about it. I mean, just religiously, like how people binge watch Netflix shows and movies or whatever, marathons. It's how I did it for weeks, and just absorbed as much as I can. Wasn't afraid to take action. I took very massive, imperfect action. I didn't care if it was right or wrong. I was just taking action and not sitting on the couch and just, should I do it this way or that way? And that's how I got my deal in the first 3 weeks. Somebody says, "You're good friends with my uncle Ish." Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy. I was just on the phone with him a little while ago. I got videos. Somebody says, "How do you acquire a buyer investors list?" Just become obsessed and watch the videos that I put out. I got videos solely on that entire topic. So I would say dig a little deep. And that's what I mean with this business. You can't just ask all the questions and receive the answers. It wasn't even like that 3 years ago. And it's important to ask questions, but it's also important to go out and do a lot of research, because research um, will take you a long way. It will allow you to go out and find the answers and learn how to solve the problem of finding the answer to your question, if that makes sense. And that in itself is an education process. So spend more time doing some research. I have people ask me simple questions sometimes. Hey, what's the difference between, a HUD or this? And I was like, that exact question you asked, you can type it in Google and you can come up with an answer that is probably going to be better than anybody can recite to you. And once you're having a conversation with somebody, you may get it in layman terms, but I promise you some great information out there completely for free that will help you when you're reading it, and when you see it and when you see examples will give you very, very good confidence. And I know some people will learn different ways, right? Some people need it all bundled up into a package and give it to them. And those are the people that would go out and get, mentors. And I believe that everybody should get a mentor at a certain point in time of their life. Does it have to be an entrepreneur mentor or anything like that? No, it could be a mind mentor, person mentor. There's so many different types of mentors. And when you get to the point in your business where you want to scale, that is, you want to get a mentor then too, right? I have several mentors, not just in real estate. I've just mentors in general, life mentors, financial mentors, real estate mentors. But you have to get to a certain point where you've proven to yourself, you've done enough research. You don't think your most mentors are not going to hold your hand and walk you down the yellow brick road. So don't trick yourself into believing a mentor is always the answer, especially when you're just beginning. Thank you. I appreciate that. We definitely need a mentor. No, you don't. Is it okay to sound novice when you're speaking to potential sellers? Can you be transparent with them as far as being a beginner? Yes. I talk about that a lot, where people try to be experts and they come off sounding completely foolish. But it's cool to call a seller or get a seller and build rapport with the seller and say, hey, look, this is going to be my first flip property. I haven't bought one, or this is my second one. I want to make sure I'm doing this right, and use some of the things that you accidentally, and then let a lot of people like to be teachers, right? So you need to, yes, be a novice. If you are a novice, be a novice. Don't go out there and try to act like an expert and fumble over yourself. You'd be surprised how easy it is to build rapport with somebody when you get on the phone and say, hey, look, I'm calling to see if you're interested in selling this house and blah, blah, blah. And say, oh, maybe, blah. Well, listen, this is going to be my first flip property. Have your story, whatever your story is. It's going to be my first flip property. I just get into real estate and I want to make sure I do this right. If you are interested in selling, I'm interested in buying. That's a whole different approach that a lot of people don't take. John Thompson says, I'm pretty sure you just got to wait till you get a job. You can't, it's hard for banks are not going to loan based with no income. Even though your credit's decent, you still need to get a job for them. Looking for questions, just go all the way down, please. Yeah, that's an important one. So how fast do you disqualify seller leads? Sometimes I waste too much time with sellers that want market value. That's a great question. You don't want to waste a lot of time with sellers. You need to make sure that the person that you're talking to owns a house. And you need to make sure that they are willing to sell and actual able to sell the property. And you need to find out, hey, look, what do you first of all, you need to set the stage and let them know, hey, I'm a real estate investor. That alone should cue something in their brain that says, okay, this person is not here to buy my house retail. And that's part of your spill. Hey, my name is Max. I'm a local real estate investor. You're having this conversation with this person, um, you know, and then the person says, "Hey, look, well, can I tell you a little bit about myself and my company? We're real estate investors. We buy, 2 to 3 properties a month. Typically, what we do with these properties is we're going to fix these properties up. We're going to buy these properties, fix them up. May take 6, 9 months, just depends. Turn around and sell these properties for a profit. Second thing we do with properties is I may actually buy these properties and keep them and add them to our rental portfolio. That's basically the gist of what our company is. Now, what do you think your property would be best for? Do you think it'd be good for a flip like HDTV? Or do you think it's something that we can add to our rental portfolio and maybe gain um, some value over the next 7 years? That right there, once somebody hears your spill, which should happen in the first few when you start talking about the things that you do, you'll know very quickly if they fit your criteria. Um, John says, my learning disability holds, where'd it go? My learning disability holds me back. It's hard to read and understand stuff. John, there's so many different avenues that you can take. I too have I'm dyslexic, so it takes me a lot longer to read things than most people can comprehend. So you're not alone in this. There's many, if you look it up, there's many successful people that are dyslexic. So don't use your disability as a crutch. Um, there's a lot of things that are audio driven, video driven. There's things that you can watch, listen to. Podcasts are one of my favorite tools on an iPhone and any phone that people most underutilized thing. Watching videos, and you'd be surprised how far you can get, because if you're weak in one thing, you're pretty strong in something else. So your comprehension can be very well while listening to something or watching something. So don't use it as a crutch. Use it as something to boost you up, John. Trust me, you can do it. Would it be preferred to have a real estate license before wholesaling? I don't have one. I think most of 99.9% of my friends don't have one. Is an owner occupied property hard to close on? No. That's a good question. I know it may seem difficult, but as long as the price is right and you set the terms with them as far as when they're moving out, whether it's a couple days before closing or sometimes I've even done, for example, where we buy a property and we'll hold back some of the proceeds for the sale until they leave the property in a broom swept condition. Now, typically that's only like a couple days or a week because they needed the funds to go out and do something. So let's just say they're going to get 50 grand from it. They'll get half of the money up front at the closing table. The other 25,000 is retained by the attorney or the closing company, depending what state you are in. And they'll get the rest once they leave the property. It's a post possession agreement. But most of the time they're out before closing because they want all the money. Let's see what my friend Bo Hollis says. What's up, Bo? How important is it to build rapport building in this business? Bo is a good friend of mine out in Kentucky, has a company called Simply Sold. I love his logo. The day I met him, I told him I wanted his logo. But man, he's a good guy, avid barbecuer. Got the smoker out there. So how important is rapport building in this business? It is the most important thing besides getting on the phone and talking to people. It is one of the most important things, building rapport. I can get on the phone and talk to somebody and you can get on the phone and have a better rapport building. They like you. You follow up, you do what you say you're going to do. You can win the deal even if you're come in at less money than I have. It's just part of the business. So rapport building is very, very important when on the phone or in person. It's important. You don't spend your entire time speaking to the seller about their property. You want to talk to them about other things. Just building a rapport with them. I promise you. That's a good question, Bo. He knows the answer, but he felt like you guys needed to hear it. But Bo, yeah, that's very, very important. All right. So somebody says, hey, Max, on REI Skip, if I pull 3 numbers and it's on the do not call list, can you call the other 2 numbers? You can only don't call the numbers that are on the do not call list. If it's not on the do not call list, then you can call those numbers. But if the number you're trying to call is on the do not call list, then you can't call them, or you shouldn't call them. Let's see here. What platforms do you recommend? That's a good question. I mean, if you're just starting out and you're fresh in this game, I would learn a tactic called driving for dollars. I will download an app called Deal Machine. You can go check out the links in my video. You can get like 15 days free and 20 postcards free, whatever their special is going on right now. But Deal Machine, so that you can drive around finding distressed properties, which is exactly how I got my first deal, and get the ball rolling from there. The reason why I like Deal Machine, it's a couple of reasons. The reason why I like the driving for dollars tactic altogether is for a couple of reasons. Driving for dollars allows you to go out and take action. It gets you up out of the couch, off of the computer, and on the road, driving around neighborhoods that you've never driven around before. You're driving with a different lens right now that allows you to see the real estate market for what it is, because you're getting to see now, driving around, you're getting to see what properties are being rehabbed, what street has the most new construction, what side of town has the most development. And with that, you're going to start learning which zip codes are hotter, which side of town is being gentrified, right? The side of town that wasn't the best a few years ago, and now they're remodeling these houses, and there's people walking dogs in coffee shops on the corners. You're going to learn all that through driving for dollars. And that's why I love driving for dollars, not only because it makes you take action, but it also allows you to go out and actually learn the real estate market, your real estate market, and you can have better conversations on the phones. So if you're just starting out, Deal Machine, for sure. There's a link in every single one of my videos. You can probably use it for about 30 days free or something like that, but you definitely want to check it out. Somebody had a question about scaling their business and what processes. One thing that I tell people is when they get in this business and you've done a deal or two, because you only should be asking about scaling if you've done deals. You don't want to scale something that doesn't exist. So what you want to do there is when you're scaling your business and you want to learn the formula of your workflow and process, I want you to write down every single thing you need to do from A to Z, from marketing to getting the check at closing, every single thing. I mean, every single thing, write those down. And once you have it on paper, you'll start to see what your systems need to be, what your processes need to be, and then you'll start plugging the right people into those processes. But you have to write it down. Just don't think about it. I mean, physically write it down, because everybody has a different process. Some things are very reciprocal through most businesses, but there's a lot of people have their own processes. And I want to make sure you have your own. Juan says, what advice would you give a 19-year-old with $5,000 cash? Man, you have a good advantage. You're 19 and you're interested in real estate. When I was 19, I had dirty military boots on, doing my thing. But to be 19 and be interested in real estate and had $5,000 is great. You need to follow my guy, Chris Jefferson. He's going to show you how to start this business with just $500 to $600 every month until you get your first deal and you start to scale. So find Chris Jefferson. I think he's the Chris Jefferson or something like that. He's tagged on a bunch of my posts on Instagram. Find him, hit him up, tell him I sent you, and spend that money wisely. How do you get people to like you? Just be yourself. Don't force somebody to like you. Be who you are. and people are going to gravitate to who you are. But most people can sense when you're being fake. Don't be fake. Just be who you are. Talk about the things you like, things the person's like. I promise you, most people in this world are just likable people, and I'm pretty sure you're one of them too. So just be yourself. Be yourself. That's right, Elijah. Go take action. There's traction in action. He always dropping bars, man. He's like a walking rap encyclopedia. Your guy, Elijah. Elijah I. What's up, Elijah? Jessica has a question. What if? That's a good question. What if? What if you don't start? What if all you did was watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts? What if all you did was watch live, Instagram lives, YouTube lives? What if you never get started? What if next year, this same time, you don't do anything? You're just watching. What if you do start? What if you start in this time next year, you're financially independent, you have everything you've ever dreamed of? But what if you don't take action? But what if you do? What if you fail? Is it the end or is it the beginning? That's a good question. What if? I don't know what if, but I know what is. And if you sit here and do nothing, you'll get nothing. But what if you try? Who knows? Just don't be afraid to fail. That's all I got to say. That probably wasn't your question. You probably hit enter on the keyboard before you finish typing, but that's a good question. Probably the best one tonight. What if? All right, you should think about that. Everybody should think about that. What if? What if you go out there and take action and you get your first deal within the next 30 days? What if you sit on the couch and do nothing? What if? That's a good question. That's the best question all day. What if? Thanks, Jessica. All right, so let's Todd. Let's see, Todd, what should I expect from my title company as far as communication with the seller for whatever needs after the contract is executed? I feel like they aren't doing ish, but I may be asking for too much. Todd, that's a good question. Once you hand over a binding contract that is complete and satisfies your title company's procedures or whatever they like to call, once they do that and they said, all right, they should take it from there. Now, if there's something wrong that you may need to settle that they don't handle, they should call you, but they should be calling the seller to make sure that they have all the necessary paperwork and financial documents in order to close. They should be overly communicative with the seller so that they're also aligned. But then it's also your job as well to make sure the seller is satisfied and knows where the process is. Because at the end of the day, Todd, if the deal falls through, it's no sweat off the back of the title company. It's all your money gone. All your hard work goes out the window. So until you find a good one, or until you set the expectation with the title company, you need to make sure you are over communicative with the seller. One thing I like about working with my in-house team, Greystar Legal, is that they have an app that connects the seller and the buyer, whoever's who, and it shows them the status of what's going on. They can request signatures through the app. It's almost like if you ever order pizza from Domino's and you can see what part of the prep and cooking process the pizza's in, you can see that with the app. And that's why I like doing it. So Todd, if you're not satisfied with your title company, always go out and find another one. What I would do to find the best is find out your most top 5 active investors in the community you live in and ask them who they use. Ahmad Bell said, how do you feel about gentrification? I did a whole video series about that. Do me a favor, go back and check those out. Gentrification is something that's going to happen. It's been happening since the beginning of time. It will continue to happen. But right now, you have a position to decide on what will you play a role in this gentrification? It doesn't always have a negative connotation. Remember that. Gentrification could be good. Just depends on what side of the table you sit on. Let's see here. Where we at? I found 3 deals my first week, close on 2. How can I be more consistent? Keep doing what you're doing and do it. I mean, like it's no tomorrow. Somebody says, can you text do not call list? If so, what platform? Here's the thing. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to sit here and try to give you legal counsel. Can you text a do not call list? What you should probably do is go over to reirail.com, reirail.com, and they have a text messaging platform. They have an RVM platform, which is ringless voicemail and text messaging, all that stuff like that. Is that Burton saying what's good neighborhood? Yeah, it is Burton. Burton's got a gag order on me. I can't talk about this real cool product that's coming out because he says I can't talk about it until it comes out. But I've been using it and it's great. It's on my phone. I love it. Anyways, that's I can get too far before I get in trouble. All right, Burton, I'm not going to say anything. Let's see. All right, let's scroll. Yeah, keep going. Let's see. Seen a question. My eyes get tired, Gabby. I've been rolling all day. All right, so I don't know who just scrolled past everything. I was reading something. Somebody say, how obsessed were you when you first started this business? And how have you kept that obsession despite the adversities you experience then and now? That's a good question, Earl. And I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about, right? I think I'm obsessed with it because I have a goal to reach this financial freedom, whatever that is to you. And beyond that, create generational wealth for the kids I don't have yet, for the wife I don't have yet, to be a provider for my current family, my mom, my sisters, my brothers. I think that's what keeps me obsessed, right? So it might sound cheesy and corny, but what is your why? Why are you doing this, right? And once you figure that out, it's what's going to wake you up in the morning without an alarm clock. And if you actually truly like real estate or whatever business that is you're doing, that's why people say never chase the money, chase your passion. And if you're truly in love with real estate or like the idea of it, or have always been obsessed with it, never understood how people could own multiple houses, and now you finally understand, you're going to become obsessed with it. And once you become obsessed with it, no matter what adversities come to your way, what adversities come to your way, you're going to fight through it. You're going to bust through brick walls. Now you're going to get down. Come on. There's days that I used to get so depressed because it was, 5, 6 days, 7 days. I'm pounding the phones, 200 calls a day from my cell phone. And man, nothing. And then that 8th day, boom, 15,000. Or man, I finally talked to a seller who really needs my services, who really wants to sell this house quickly. I'm the only one who can do this deal for them. And so, yes, you're going to get down. You're going to face adversities, but it's the reason. You have to remember the reason why you started. And if that reason is big enough And if your desire and your burning desire inside of you is strong enough, you'll push past it. The most successful people in this world, anybody you look up to, they have adversities day in and day out. But the reason why they're doing what they're doing, or the obsession of what they're doing, creates that burning desire that you expect adversities to come, whether your friends, your family, whether it's just things going on with your business. So Earl, find your passion, whether it's real estate, whether it's selling cars, whether it's being a doctor, whether it's a fireman, a police, whatever it is. Once you find that burning desire, once you find that obsession, you'll never look at adversity the same anymore. You look at it as a learning lesson. And I think that's the main reason why most people never chase their dreams, because they're afraid of failing. Because adversities will happen. That's a guarantee. It will get hard. It will get tough. You will be depressed. People will tell you no. And you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing, man. So I hope that answers your question, Earl. Guys, let's take one more question. Let's go top 3 qualifying questions in-house to convert leads to appointments. Jonathan, I wouldn't say there's 3 questions that in-house to convert leads to appointments. What I would say, it's a mentality. It is being able to find out what this person wants and why they want it. You have to reach their pain points. If you can't find the pain points, and it could be as simple as, I want to leave here and I want to move to the beach. And I want to do it in the next 30 days. And I'm sick and tired of my neighbors. I want a bigger yard. I want to surf every day. I want to fish every day, whatever that is. If that's their pain point, you need to find their pain point. You need to help them realize the solution, and you need to take it to the end with them. You need to push that, help them paint that perfect picture in their head with you as the problem solver and their problem being gone. And whether that's, hey, I want to move to the beach in 10 days and I want to walk away with $20,000, or I want to walk away with a good, nice money to buy a boat or something, you need to figure out whatever that is, solve that problem, paint the perfect picture for them. Right. And that's a question I asked too. So tell me, what's the perfect scenario for you? So that's it, guys. Jonathan, I hope that answered your question. Don't forget, I'm going to be back here next week, Wednesday, with my guys, Nazir and Chris. And that's a more relaxed, fun environment. We're going to be talking about real estate, life, and everything. So make sure to be here. We're going to ask some questions. You get to ask your questions. So I see you guys here next week. I believe it's Wednesday. In the meantime, stay frosty, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.